People are rewatching Ricky Gervais's Golden Globes moment like it wasn't comedy, like it was a heads up. Because right now, Epstein-related documents and sealed material are trending again, and the internet is doing what it always does, tracking who's relocating, who's selling property, and who's suddenly going radio silent. And the timing is what has everyone spiraling. Here's what we're covering today fast. Ellen reportedly spending extended time in the UK while headlines swirl. Richard Gere making a major property move that people online are calling panic timing. Eva Longoria quietly shifting her base. Rosie O'Donnell sounding permanent about living abroad. And even rumors around Ryan Gosling and Eva Mendes looking outside LA. One important note before we go any further. I'm not claiming anyone is guilty of anything. We're separating what can be verified from what is rumor, and we're breaking down why the internet is interpreting these moves the way it is. That's the point. Let's move. Quick refresher on why Ricky is even part of this conversation. When he hosted the Golden Globes, he didn't do polite Hollywood comedy. He did the kind of roasting that makes powerful people laugh while looking genuinely uncomfortable because it hits too close to what nobody once said out loud. And when Epstein's name came up in that room, it didn't feel random. It felt like a, you all know what this is, moment. Now, with Epstein-related chatter getting loud again, court material, unsealing efforts, viral clips resurfacing, and people arguing about what might become public, the internet is connecting dots, fairly or unfairly.
Blake Lively and Jeffrey Epstein connection is wild, you guys. This letter has all these people listed. Let me just tell you, I looked each and every single one of them up, and there is scandal and shade in relation to each one. Buckle up, I'm gonna go through it.
And here's the wild part. The public mood shifts first. Then every celebrity move starts getting treated like a clue. People see a relocation, a home sale, a sudden silence, and they don't read it as normal life change. They read it as preparation. Is that a fair conclusion? Not necessarily, but it explains why this trend keeps exploding. Once people believe names are coming, timing becomes the entire story. So now, we do this the smart way. Name by name. What's being claimed, what's actually verifiable, and what's still just internet projection. Let's start with the biggest headline name being dragged into this conversation, Ellen DeGeneres, the headliner. There are widespread reports that Ellen DeGeneres has been spending extended time in the UK, and before anyone twists this, relocating is not illegal. People move for 100 normal reasons, but here's why her name keeps getting mentioned anyway. Timing plus headlines creates a perfect storm for speculation. Some coverage and online commentary have pointed to legal paperwork issues connected to a car crash-related lawsuit. Basically claims that serving documents can become more complicated when someone isn't in the country or isn't easily reachable through normal channels. That alone doesn't prove anything sinister. It could be logistical, it could be procedural, it could be completely routine. But the internet hears service issues and instantly upgrades it to she's dodging. And then they stack that assumption on top of everything else trending right now, and suddenly they're treating rumor like it's confirmation. So let's keep this clean. Verifiable part is that there's been public discussion about her being overseas and that there may be legal or administrative complications tied to paperwork. The unverified part is the motive people attach to it. And then there's the clip culture layer. People keep resurfacing older on-camera moments and interview talk that they claim hints she was aware of certain late-night celebrity circles and parties. The internet loves to do this. Take a vague reference, clip it, replay it, and turn it into a confession. Is it proof of wrongdoing? No. Is it enough to keep her name in the comments when this topic flares up? Absolutely. So, the reason Ellen is the headliner here isn't confirmed evidence tying her to anything criminal. It's that she's famous, she's polarizing, and people online are primed to interpret every move as strategic. And that's the pattern you'll see again and again. Relocation becomes running, privacy becomes hiding, timing becomes guilt, even when there's no proof. Next up is Richard Gere, and this one surprised a lot of people because he's been a Hollywood fixture for decades. Reports have circulated that he sold a major property in Connecticut, the kind of place people describe as a full compound, not just a house. Now the internet narrative says he sold at a loss and that it looks like panic timing, but here's what we can responsibly say. Real estate pricing is complicated. Markets shift, buyers negotiate, taxes, maintenance, timing, and private family decisions can all play a role. A sale price by itself doesn't automatically mean desperation. That said, the reason it's being framed as suspicious is the exact same timing effect. When people are already expecting more Epstein-related material to become public, they start treating normal financial decisions like coded messages. His public-facing explanation, according to what's been said in reports and commentary, centers around family priorities and spending more time abroad.
Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. For years after, I tried to avoid Jeffrey. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen to underage girls in Florida. In New York City, hundreds of young, ambitious women were abused by.
That's not weird, that's not illegal, it's not even uncommon. But if you're already convinced something big is coming, you see a sale headline and your brain goes, he knows something. So again, the verifiable piece is the property move and the broader life shift. The speculative piece is the motive people attach to it. We don't have proof of the motive. We have the internet turning a life decision into a storyline. Now, let's talk about Eva Longoria. She's been open in interviews about spending significant time outside the US, splitting her life between different countries and being selective about where she raises her family. That's a normal conversation for someone with money, options, and a desire for privacy. But here's what makes it fit that pattern. People are obsessed with real estate moves. There have been claims that she reduced the asking price on a major property, and social media immediately translated that into, she needs to sell right now. But price reductions happen for a ton of reasons: timing, buyer demand, strategy, market correction, or simply wanting to finalize a move without dragging it out for months. So what's the drama here? The drama is the contrast between quiet and fast. When a public figure doesn't make a big announcement but their assets and lifestyle start shifting, it creates a vacuum, and the internet fills that vacuum with the darkest theory available. Some people frame it like she's moving money and getting out before something drops. Is there evidence of that motive? Not in what we're covering here. What's fueling it is the same thing fueling everything else: timing plus heightened suspicion. So Eva becomes part of the quiet exit category, not because of confirmed wrongdoing, but because her moves are subtle enough that people can project whatever story they want onto them. Rosie O'Donnell is next, and the language around her move is extremely dramatic online. People keep calling it exile because she has publicly talked about living in Ireland and strongly implied she doesn't plan to return in the way she used to. Now, choosing to live abroad can be about peace, privacy, mental health, family, or simply wanting a different lifestyle. None of that needs a conspiracy explanation. But here's why the internet is acting suspicious anyway. Rosie has been in the industry forever. She's connected. She's been around major names for decades. And when someone like that leaves and sounds final about it, the online mind immediately asks, what does she know? That question is not proof. It's just how people think when they're already emotionally charged by a bigger story. So instead of presenting it like she's scared, we keep it honest. Her move adds to the perception of a broader trend. Public figures choosing distance from the Hollywood machine right at the moment this topic is flaring up again. And when the public is already expecting revelations, they treat distance as a defensive move. Now we've got Ryan Gosling and Eva Mendes, and to be clear, this part is heavily rumor-based. The talk online is that they've looked at property in London or considered spending more time there to raise their kids away from the intensity of Los Angeles and the constant spotlight. Unlike the other examples, this isn't being driven by a single sale headline that everyone can point to. It's more of that industry whisper energy, the kind of story that spreads because it feels plausible. And that's exactly why it matters. It shows how the pattern grows legs. Once the internet believes people are getting out, even normal family choices and quiet lifestyle preferences get pulled into the same narrative. So are Ryan and Eva running? We don't have proof of that. What we do have is an online environment where every famous couple with kids becomes a target for projection. They're protecting their family morphs into they're escaping. And now that you see how this works, how one headline becomes a chain reaction, the next layer people argue about isn't even who moved, it's how connected these circles are. They're still in the planning stages, but the fact that they're even looking tells you something, not as proof, but as a signal of where the temperature is right now. Because let's be real, when the public conversation shifts into documents, names, and who knew what, Hollywood doesn't feel safe for anyone's reputation. Even people who have nothing to do with anything start thinking, why stay in the blast zone when you can live quieter somewhere else? And that's the point. The vibe changes first, the moves come second. The internet connects it all third. And we need to talk about how deep these connections appear to go. Not because every connection equals wrongdoing, but because the optics alone can end careers. It's not just about celebrities leaving. It's about how small the world is at that level, how often the same circles overlap, and how quickly "I was in the room" turns into "I must be part of it," even when that leap isn't fair. So let's talk about the circle effect. Over the years, you'll see viral threads claiming that various public figures early in their careers ended up at high society events where multiple controversial people were also present. Sometimes the internet presents it like a guest list. Sometimes it's one photo, one rumor, one anecdote that gets recycled until it feels like confirmed history. And I'm going to say this clearly. Being in the same room is not the same as being involved in someone else's crimes. It's not proof, it's not a conviction, it's not even a fair accusation on its own. But it does show you how these circles work. One party, one fundraiser, one industry event, and suddenly you're linked in the public imagination to dozens of people you didn't even speak to. And when a scandal resurfaces, the internet doesn't ask, "Did they do anything?" The internet asks, "Were they nearby?" That's why this creates panic. Not always because people are guilty, but because reputation is fragile and proximity becomes a weapon. Now let's talk about what people keep bringing up next: travel access and the names that show up in long-running public discussions around Epstein. Because whether you like it or not, there are names that have been repeatedly referenced in reporting, documentaries, public records, and online threads for years. And every time the topic spikes again, those names return like clockwork. So here's how we handle this. We're not saying this person did X. We're saying this person has been publicly associated in one way or another through documented travel, meetings, or reported contact. And that association is why the internet drags them back into the conversation. Stephen Hawking is often mentioned in these discussions because people claim he traveled in connection with a science-related event. And that example matters because it proves a basic point. Presence alone is not a scandal. Context matters. Woody Allen has also been mentioned in connection with Epstein in various public discussions, including claims that they were seen around the same locations. Is being seen illegal? No, but once the public has a negative frame, every detail gets interpreted through it. Les Wexner is another name that comes up frequently because of long-standing public reporting and controversy around Epstein's relationship to wealth, power, and access. And you'll see viral posts stacking extra dramatic claims on top. Numbers, scenarios, confident, "this definitely happened" language. Some of those claims get repeated so often they start sounding like facts. But here's the reality. Unless you have a verified record for each specific claim, you keep it as reported, alleged, or rumored, because the internet doesn't need help spreading rumors. It needs someone to separate what's solid from what's invented. Naomi Campbell is another name that gets pulled into these conversations because of reported social links to people in Epstein's broader orbit. And you'll see people online say things like "she definitely knew" or "she definitely saw." That's an accusation, not evidence. So we don't do "definitely." We do "this is why the public keeps bringing it up," and "this is why it becomes a PR problem when the topic resurfaces." Chris Tucker is often mentioned because of a well-known trip people discuss, sometimes framed as charity-related, sometimes framed as "why would you be there?" Again, the existence of a trip or a flight doesn't automatically confirm illegal activity, but when the topic is trending, the public starts using "was on the plane" like it's a verdict. Kevin Spacey gets mentioned in similar travel-related conversations, and because he already carries his own public controversy, any association becomes gasoline on the fire. In an environment like this, people don't weigh nuance, they stack suspicion. So here's why all of this matters. And this is the part people don't want to admit. These aren't always proof stories. A lot of them are perception stories. When multiple famous people are reported to be selling homes, spending more time abroad, stepping back from public life, or tightening up their circle, and the internet believes more Epstein-related material could become public, you are watching a collision between timing and paranoia. Are all these moves coordinated? We do not have proof of that. Are all these moves connected to one single event or one single release date? We do not have proof of that either. But do patterns become convincing when you're already primed to believe a storm is coming? Yes, that's how the internet works. People see headlines like "selling property," "moving overseas," "going private," "limiting public appearances," quietly shifting their life away from the spotlight. And they don't read it as normal life change. They read it as preparation. They read it as protection. They read it as "get out before it gets ugly." And whether that interpretation is fair or not, it explains why this topic keeps exploding online. Because once the audience believes names are coming, every celebrity move becomes a clue. So there you have it. Years ago, Ricky Gervais stood on that stage and joked about Hollywood hypocrisy like he didn't care who hated him for it. He joked about the things people whisper. He joked about the elephants nobody wants to acknowledge. And now with Epstein-related chatter heating up again, people are watching celebrities relocate, sell, go quiet, and tighten up their lives, and the internet is treating it like a mass exit strategy. Ellen overseas, Richard Gere making big property moves, Eva Longoria shifting her life away quietly, Rosie sounding permanent about living abroad, Ryan and Eva rumored to explore a different base. Is that proof of anything criminal? No. Is it enough to create the most addictive kind of story online? The kind where everyone thinks they're solving a mystery in real time? Absolutely. I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Which celebrity move surprised you the most? And which part of this do you think is being exaggerated the hardest online? If you want me to keep tracking this as it evolves, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. This story isn't going away. It's only getting louder. See you in the next one.